How early were you aware of the prominent position that you were in yourself, but also the expectation that might be on your shoulders as you grew up?
I don't remember not being aware, candidly. My father was the governor of Arkansas when I was born, and I remember, going around the state with him on weekends and being in, whether it was Rogers or El Dorado or Magnolia, Arkansas, and people coming up to me and saying, oh, you're the governor's daughter, or do you want to be governor when you grow up? And I would think, I'm 3 or I'm 4. I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. But I've always been aware of kind of the prominence of my parents, as you put it, and also of some amorphous expectation that I would also do something, if not political, then something to make a difference in the world.
You and your mother, Hillary, have just announced an initiative to the tune of $80 million to try and stem the tide of ivory poaching. Why is this important?
This really is a human rights issue. It's a security issue. It's an economic empowerment issue. So many of the things that we really care about are bound up in the question of ivory. So when we think about it as a security issue, which probably is somewhat surprising to people, I don't think people normally think, oh, I'm buying an ivory chopstick or Buddha. There's security implications to that purchase, but there really are. We know that the ivory trafficking is helping to fund Al-Shabaab, the Lord's Resistance Army, Al-Qaeda North Africa, so many of the most destabilizing forces for African states, but also real threats to where you live in the UK and like where I live here in the United States.
Let me ask you about another issue that you've wanted to highlight, maternal health. Tell me why maternal health is a big thing for you.
Well, it's a big issue to me because it just seems like such a fundamental moral issue to me. I mean, how can life and death be so intimately connected? Why are there still hundreds of thousands of women around the year who die while pregnant or while giving birth? Simply because they don't have access to the prenatal care that they need, to the delivery care that they need, or the rights to not have to get married and expect to be pregnant before their bodies and their spirits are ready to make those choices for themselves. And so for me, I really think that, as my mom has said, the rights of women and girls remain the unfinished business of the 21st century.
This idea of wanting to give something back, to try and make a contribution to making the world a better place, is that something that you have ever regarded through the prism of politics?
Well, when I was little, people would ask me, are you going to grow up and be governor one day? My visceral reaction was just no. Always. And then for a long time
Why was it no?
Oh, because I was a little kid, or because I loved space and I thought that day I was definitely going to be an astronaut. I mean, for all sorts of reasons. It was just kind of no for so long. And then as I've gotten older, I think it's really important who is in the political arena, who raises his or her hand and runs for office successfully and unsuccessfully. And so now that I believe that so strongly, it is something that I think about. But at this moment in time, I love the work I'm doing with the Clinton Foundation. I love my life, and I'm grateful that I live in a city and a state and a country in which I strongly support my elected leaders. I believe in their ethos, I believe in their competencies. But at some point, if any of that were not true, if I were disappointed in my elected leaders, and I believed that I could make a disproportionate positive difference if I were to run for office, I have to ask and answer those questions.